for the spirit to be housed in a physical shell. Because all the spirit is doing at that point, if the physical shell is maintained, is helping to maintain that physical shell. And consciousness suffers, and there is much pain. Not physical pain, but spiritual pain. Pain that results from knowing in the subconscious that it is time to leave. Pain that results from knowing in the subconscious that it is time to return to spiritual family. Isn't it a strange balance? On the one hand, you have to let the span of days play themselves out. On the other hand, you haven't to maintain the body to the point where the spirit is trapped. How can you strike this balance? You strike this balance by, again, back to the center, back to the dot within the circle, by expanding consciousness to the point where you know. Where the patient knows, where you know, where the doctor knows, where the nurse knows the state of the patient, not physically. Why worry about the physical? Not particularly mentally, but certainly spiritually. Where is that patient at within that arc of days? Is it the end of days and the beginning of new days somewhere else? If so, then the machines need to be unhooked. The drugs need to be withdrawn. And the body needs to be returned to the earth so that it can be refashioned as another body, as something else, as another shell for another visitor. Is that a sufficient answer?
Yes, thank you very much.
Another question, please.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. Is there a planetary guardian for the Earth and the solar system?
Guardian is such a delicate word, because guardian infers that those who are being guarded are aware of that guardianship and benefit from it. The solar system, the planet, each of you has guardians. Each of you has guides. But those guardians, those guides, cannot prevent you from putting yourself in harm's way if you so choose, if you so wish. It is the same for the earth, because the earth itself is its own guardian. The earth guards itself, but the earth so loves its inhabitants that often it stifles its own miseries when it could end them instantly in order to overlook the trespasses on its surface. The earth guards itself ultimately by the type of actions that you see around you on your news programs. By the floods, by the earthquakes, by the tornadoes, by the so-called freak weather, because these things are in fact erupting at points around the Earth's surface where it can no longer bear the pain, no longer hold itself together, where the thoughts of men and women have damaged it to such an extent that it has to rip apart. It has to vent those vibrations. It has to try and get rid of them, to scratch the itch, to get rid of the pain. But the earth does this reluctantly. God does this not at all. Man does this often. There is love and millions of souls aware of the plight of souls on earth, of the plight of the solar system. But we can only guard, we can only protect those who wish to be guarded and who wish to be protected. Again, we are down to that universal law of free will. And as long as souls wish to immerse themselves in violence, in materialism, in suffering, in pain, in ignorance, then we are powerless to guard. All we can do is what we are doing, what I am doing, what those who are stood around me are doing tonight. All we can do is pinpoint light to those who are ready to accept it. Pinpoint light and say, take this light out. Share it with people. change their minds, change their viewpoints, let in the guardianship, let in the light. And as a result of that, we can guard, we can guide. Guard and guide are very close together as words. Guardian, a guide. We seek to guide, we seek to guard, but we cannot protect you from yourselves. Only you can do that. And in order to do that, you have to change your mind. There are great guardians of nature, the devas. There are great fabricators of the universe, the angels. There is a great love that permeates everything that you see and cannot see, everything you can imagine and things that you cannot imagine. And that, of course, is the guardianship and the guidance of the God that you are a part of. The theme tonight seems to be, and I'm glad it is, to point out that man, that woman have turned their backs on the light. And that to restore guidance, to restore guardianship, to restore inner guidance, all souls have to do on earth is to turn their heads back to the light. It is as simple as that. Remember that the field makes it complicated. The field makes it seem complex and says to you, you can't do anything. You can't stop a war. You can't heal a person. You can't sort out a family rift. You can't forgive. You can't love. You can't go around with your head in the clouds and change things. Far better you went around with your head in the clouds than buried in the effects of the field. The future is simple. A future, if you want a future, is simple. It is simply a matter of turning away from what is happening on earth at the moment and saying, that is not part of my worldview. That is not part of how I think, that is not part of how I act. And time and again the field will attempt to convince you that it is part of the way that you feel and act. But you must hold up your beacon, your torch of light and say, no, my world is different. My world is guided. My world is guarded. I am guided. I am guarded. And you will be. And others will be. Because little by little you begin to illuminate others. Because you are chasing away the field. You are chasing away the darkness. Don't I talk a lot? I would far rather listen. And that is the second part of the answer I must give you. I would far rather listen. Listen to what? Listen, yes, to my companions, where I live, where I exist, where I choose to be, my here. But also listen to the God within, because the God within talks to me. And the God within talks to you. And that is another fast track to salvation, to guidance, to guardianship. To listen to what the God within is saying. Not the field. Don't go out there, go in here. Your universe is also in here. And you push away the field and you say, no, I'm becoming quiet. I am going in here and I am going to listen. And in listening you discover light. And in listening you discover a purpose. And in listening you discover what to do next. On Monday God says do nothing. On Tuesday God says pick up the phone and talk to a certain person. On Wednesday God says go into this organization and become a part of it. On Thursday God says go out and simply be a companion to this person or that person. On Friday God says here are some thoughts. Here is another way to view my universe. Take them on board. Think about them. Accept them if you will, please. They are your thoughts. They are mine, but they are yours. I want you to remember them. And in listening, you change the world. In turning away from the field, you change the world. And then you will have no need of guidance. You will simply be part of the process of creation, as you are now, but masked, but hidden. Part of the process of creation. The joy and bliss of creation. The joy and bliss of being in different worlds, in different ways, in different lifetimes, in different spiritual spheres. And all the time transmitting back that joy to your God, who sent you there in the first place to experience, to be happy, to be blissful, to discover yourselves, to discover the rich joy of others that aren't others at all, but are actually part of you. I have wondered, has that answered your question?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another question, please.
Joseph, is the world heading for a catalysm and the re-emergence of Atlantis?
Am I coming home? Are you calling me back? I am amused by your newsstands. I am amused by your bookshelves, but I am also at times horrified by these things. Because I see a lot of distraction. I see many titles and many themes that take you off course. They tell you that this is going to happen. They tell you that that is going to happen. They tell you you are going to be invaded. They tell you you have been invaded. They tell you that this stone will help you, or this poem will help you, or this light will help you, or that will help you. And they pull you in very often to the middle of a fenced-off area. An area that will delight you for a time, but has no substance. Except that it delights the field even more than it delights you. And there are many, many theories going around regarding Atlantis, regarding aliens, regarding what you should do to make yourself feel better, to elevate yourself. There are many theories going around that say at a certain point on a certain day you will sprout wings and elevate to the spiritual spheres. These things, to my mind and to the minds of the people who work with me, my colleagues, are dangerous because they take you off the road. They take you off the focus, off the target. And the target, to come back to your original question, is that there isn't much time left in which to be on target. There isn't much time left to change your mind. There isn't much time left to put down the books, to put down the areas that call to you and appear to be an inspiration. Again, I must say to you, go within. If you read a book, or watch a program, or talk to a group, and what they are saying, what the book is saying, what you are watching seems plausible, go within. Take that concept in. Become quiet. Shut out the field. Shut out. Fence yourself in with God. And then ask God, the God within, whether these things resonate positively with you. If they do, then they are right for you. If they don't, if there is some niggle, if there is some question, if there is some doubt, if there is some feeling from within you that things are not right, be brave. Let them go. And search for the things that do feel right inside. There isn't much time left if you don't change. If you don't change your mind. If you change your mind, there is all the time in the world and more. Because at the point that many, many souls change their minds about how creation operates, change their minds about how the earth should be,